There's a little button that looks like an internet symbol. That's the button you're going to push each time you need to speak. If we don't use the microphones, then people online cannot hear anything that you're saying. So we'll open the meeting with roll call. Steve Carrianen.
Here.
Kay Wilson.
Here.
Tweed Schuman.
Here.
Stacy Hessel.
Here.
Randy Newman.
Here.
Mark Helwig.
Here.
Tom Duffy.
Here.
Marshall Savitsky. Brian Bissonette. Chuck Van Etten.
Here.
Jeff Haney.
Here.
John Righeimer.
Here.
Ron Kinsley. Ron Buckholz.
Present.
John Sarowski. We have a quorum. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show that this meeting has been publicly noticed to the news media and the public as required by Section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes. And next, I ask the Honorable Judge Monica Isham to step to the podium and perform the ceremonial swearing in of supervisors.
Right, I'm going to have everybody please rise. And raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I state your name. Having been elected to the office of County Board Supervisor, swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability, so help me God. Sincere congratulations to all of you. I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. And she's going to stick around for a few minutes while Andy and I collect these forms so that she can sign them.
Well, maybe I'll just keep it in a second.
Good. Oh. And then Andy's got the remaining ones right there. Boy, I had a bad, yeah, all those, they're right out of the box.
I get it.
Did your pen stop writing too?
Sorry, I guess you can't. I'm just I'll use this one. You start tomorrow. Right. Yours.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you all.
Okay, you're going to notice that we're going to have a couple helpers throughout this meeting. So we've got in attendance, we'll have helpers collecting the votes because we're going to be using silent ballots. We've got legal counsel Rebecca Roker on the Zoom meeting, so it might go a little bit slower than we're used to, but we'll begin this meeting with a vote for the chair and vice chair of the new slate of directors. These votes will be cast by silent ballot, and the legal counsel will explain for us how this process shall begin, so we'll turn it over to Rebecca.
Look forward to meeting, but we are very passionate about county law, so it's great to be here tonight. Again, as Lynn indicated, I'm here to help guide the board through your election of chairperson and vice chairperson. This election is required pursuant to Chapter 59 of the Wisconsin statutes. So you are statutorily required to elect a chair and a vice chair. Brief overview of controlling law. Depending on what the statutes say, the next place we look is county ordinances, and in this case we look to our county board rules for direction on these specific elections of chairperson and vice chairperson. So under the board rules, which I believe were in your agenda packet, Rule 3, it states that at the organizational meeting, the board shall elect a chair and a vice chair. So how we are going to do this is by school, and we're doing this by paper. So even though you have electronic voting systems, the board rules, and again, based on what the Roberts rules say, we do secret ballots by paper. Now, one exception to that, if there may be a method to deviate from that secret ballot if we get to that point. So with that, I think, Madam Clerk, I'm happy to answer any questions, but if you want to open it up to nominations, I think you may do that.
Ms. Roper, do we have to decide whether our remote board member can vote or not? I don't know that works for them. I broke my own rule. I didn't use my microphone. Could you explain how we would vote or include or not include a member who is voting remotely with silent ballot?
Under your board rules, is Savitsky, did I say that right? Yes. Yes. Supervisor Savitsky is permitted to attend, and any of you would be permitted to attend not only the organizational meeting, but any board meeting pursuant to the board rules. So as long as those steps are followed, it's my understanding that those steps have been followed, and so Supervisor Savitsky is permitted to attend virtually. Now, the unique component is because we're at the organizational meeting and we have a secret ballot, obviously Mr. Savitsky is not there to turn in his secret ballot. So again, we look to the statutes. If the statutes are silent, we look to the board rules. Statutes do not say one way or another if a remote virtual attendee can engage in a secret ballot. So then we look to the board rules. The board rules don't say whether a secret ballot, again, we know a secret ballot is a paper ballot, but the board rules do not specifically prohibit somebody from voting electronically. So then we go to Robert's rules. And your board rules say that if there's not a specific rule, we look to Robert's rules. We default to Robert's rules. And what Robert's rules say is that there can be a deviation from that paper vote, i.e. an electronic secret ballot, if the board rules permit it, or if there is a motion made to allow that person to vote not by secret ballot. So there's two ways you can do that, either under your board rules, which I just said the board rules are silent, so we know that's not an option. So the last remaining option would be for the board to make a motion to allow Mr. Savitsky to vote via secret ballot electronic.
I'll make a motion for Ron Marsh to vote.
I'll second that.
Take a vote on that motion, and again, if I can step on the clerk's toes here, the motion was to allow Supervisor Savitsky to render his secret ballot vote for chair and vice chair, I believe that was the motion, electronically.
Okay, so, and that vote would be passed, he would send that through a
Text message, is that correct, that I would share with the administrator?
Because Mel, there can be delays, and that text message obviously becomes a public record. Exceptions here because we're doing this via secret ballot, but yes, a text message is the most instantaneous and appropriate way.
and this can be a voice vote.
Majority? Okay, so then we do, go ahead.
Regular vote.
Do we have a motion? By Mr. Righeimer, second by Ms. Hessel to allow the silent vote for Mr. Savitsky. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So I will now, thank you, Ms. Roker. I will now open the floor for nominations for the position of chair.
Madam Clerk,
Yes,
I make a motion to nominate Tweet Schuman as chair.
thank you. Okay, do we have any further nominations? A second nomination for the floor?
I nominate Ron Kinsley for chair.
We have a nomination for Supervisor Schuman and one for Mr. Kinsley. Do we have any third nomination for the position of chair? Calling once, calling twice for a third nomination. Third time for a third nomination. Okay, hearing no further nominations, we'll close the floor for nominations for the position of chair. We will be voting by silent ballot, but before we do that, at this time, each candidate will be given a 3-minute opportunity to speak to the board. Please indicate to me if you would like that 3-minute opportunity. We will begin with Mr. Schuman.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Board of Supervisors, most of you know me, I'm Tweed Schuman, registered nurse, born and raised in District 3 my entire life, third generation cattle rancher. Schuman Cattle Company is now in its 5th generation of operation here, covering over 600 acres within Sawyer County. And as I stated earlier, born and raised taxpayer in Sawyer County, District 3. And I'm thoroughly vested in this community, as I mentioned earlier. And on April 2nd, I was reelected to my 7th Board of Supervisor term for District 3. And I've recently just completed my 6th year as your Sawyer County Board Chairman. Very proud of that, and I'm very passionate about about taking this position very seriously. I know that my role is first and foremost to serve the community and you as the Board of Supervisors. I understand and can effectively meet the important responsibilities of the board chair, which I have stated earlier I've done for 6 years now. I can and will demonstrate leadership in having orderly meetings as I've done in the past. And by respecting every supervisor's opinion, okay? And giving opportunity for every supervisor to speak before anyone gets a chance to take over the floor. I will also keep the discussion germane to the point of business, which I've done in the past. I insist on moving the discussion along, yet permitting a full discussion prior to voting. I am very familiar with Robert's Rules of Order and enforcing that as we see fit here in our board rules. I believe in committee formation consisting of individual supervisors' interest and experience, along with full and equitable county representation, north and south. I also believe that county government needs to remain nonpartisan, remembering we were elected by our district constituents and we serve them as their representative. I am very proud of the many accomplishments this board has had, and in my years of leadership, we have continued to keep the Sawyer County tax rate at a decreasing rate, although we've added a second courtroom and all the mandated services that we provide. So again, I'd be honored for your vote to continue as board chair for another 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schuman. Mr. Kinsley, would you care to speak, please? Mr. Buckholz, could you? There we go.
Thank you for the opportunity to potentially serve Sawyer County Board as chair. I've been the chair in the past. I've been on the county board for 20 years. I know the ins and outs of the county. I've been on different committees. I know the most important thing here is the county board and the great administration that we've put together. I've sat on a lot of ad hoc committees of hiring administrators. I've sat on the ad hoc committee of the building of this new courtroom. Most important thing about this position, I believe, is the employees that we have at Sawyer County. If you take care of the employees are gonna take care of you. We set policies, they do the work, and we have very good workers. Been a lifetime resident of Sawyer County. I was raised on a dairy farm. I've served in the military. And I work full-time at North Central Power in Radisson. And that's probably enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will have silent ballots now, and we'll collect them. Lieutenant and Andy Alvarado will be collecting your votes on your little slips of blue paper, so please pass those to the inside, and each one will take a side of the aisle. And Mr. Savitsky, you can send your vote to my cell phone. Thank you, I received it. Would you just verify that this is the one I'm writing down? Okay, I opened up a space for you there if you'd like to separate. Okay, we do have a majority vote. We have 9 votes for Supervisor Kinsley and 6 votes for Supervisor Schuman. Congratulations, Supervisor Kinsley. And we will conduct next the vote for the position of chair. Per the board policy, again, we'll be doing this by silent vote. If no majority is reached, balloting shall continue, including all nominees, until a majority is reached. So at this time, I will open the floor for a motion or nomination for the position of vice chair.
I nominate Stacy Hessel for vice chair.
I nominate Ron Buckholz for vice chair.
Do we have a third nomination for vice chair? Second call for third nomination? Third call for vice chair nomination. Hearing none, we will close the floor with a vote cast or nomination cast for Ms. Hessel and Mr. Buckholz. And we will begin casting ballots. Silent ballot, please, Mr. Savitsky. Vote received, sir. Yes. Yes, I should. Should we stop everything? At this point right now, Ms. Hessel, would you like to speak for 3 minutes? Mr. Buckholz? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. Should we then recast votes, Rebecca? We have one person who would like to speak. Recommence. We will do that. Thank you.
Okay, I've been the county board vice chair for the last couple of years. I've always been on the side of the county to do what is best for the county. I don't just look at myself as District 14 supervisor. I look at the whole county, to try to represent all them. And I'm not gonna give a big spiel here today, but I would appreciate your vote. And I would love to work with Mr. Kinsley on this supervisor as chair and vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will call again for votes on paper. We're going to discard what we have and we're going to do it again because we wanted to give that opportunity. Thank you, Rebecca, for catching me. So one more time with the paper ballots, please. And Mr. Savitsky, would you recast that last vote? On this yellow blue one. Thank you. Okay, we have a vote cast, 8 ballots for Mr. Buckholz, 7 ballots for Ms. Hessel. We have a, congratulations, Mr. Buckholz. We have our chair and our vice chair. We can close the voting process at this point in time and move back to our agenda. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Alvarado, I believe, for the adoption of the Sawyer County Board of Supervisors policy or procedures. Or are you going to turn that over to the new chair?
Yeah, well, two questions. Do you guys want to sit at the front tonight, or? No. All right, I'll turn it over to the chair.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the county board for your confidence in me to lead the county board forward. Thank you for that. Number 7 is adopt the Sawyer County Board of Supervisors Policy and Procedure Manual. This has been put together 8 years ago, and we've obviously had changes in it since then. I helped put this together with the previous administrator, so this is be the rules that we will follow running the meetings and organization meetings.
I make a motion to accept.
Motion by Mr. Righeimer. Second by Mr. Buckles to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 8, meeting agenda. The agenda is set. Number 9 is public comment. Public comment, we try to keep it at 3 minutes so everybody has a chance to speak. It's a chance for the public, taxpayers, to speak to the county board, the items that they have that are important to them. Is there anybody who wishes to speak to the county board at this time? Is there anybody online?
I see no hands up online.
That's a good sign. Thank you. Number 10, Board of Supervisors Committee Overview Discussion only. So I assume that's for this packet. That in your packet we have a list of committees put together.
Yeah, if I could, Mr. Chair, in the number 11 in the presentation, we have that included in there as well. So I can take it up during the welcome to procedures training. But when we go through that, you all should have an interest form to fill out of which committees you're interested in. And I'll give a broad overview of the committees when I do the presentation, but that form needs to be turned in so that the chair can use those as he formulates the committees.
Is it in this packet?
No, it's in your folder.
In the folder, sorry.
Looks like this, John.
Yeah, just the difference, the white envelope comes from Wisconsin County Association, and they have the county officials handbook in there, a card on Robert's rules and their information. And then the middle of the folder is the information that the clerk has put together for you on being a board member in Sawyer County. But with that, can I go to number 11?
Go ahead.
All right. Do you have that on the agenda to pull up, the presentation? Is it in there?
I don't think we added it.
Oh.
Because we were working on this.
Okay.
Give us a second, we'll share the screen.
Mr. Administrator,
Yes,
can we
sir.
just follow along on our document we have?
No, that's, it's gonna be different. There. Sorry for the delay. All right, so we'll run through a few slides here, just to give the board, the new members and the returning members, a little bit of an overview of the county operation. So a couple of resources I'll be referring to. First, there's the Sawyer County Directory, which is compiled by the clerk's office. That's available for you. It's also online, helps you navigate the departments and the contact information. And more so tonight, I'll be talking about the County Board Policy and Procedure Manual. In the Policy Procedure Manual that was emailed out, does include a mission statement that was adopted by the Board of Supervisors, which says that the Board of Supervisors will strive to provide excellent services and responsible leadership to protect and enhance Sawyer County citizens, businesses, and resources while preserving our unique heritage. So county government in Wisconsin, if you really want to read up on it, primarily is in Chapter 59 of Wisconsin statutes. Talks about how counties are organized, how they operate, the different programs and services they offer. County government, I would say, is a way of explaining it's permissive. We can only do the things that statutes allow us to do. So anytime there's a service or a program or a funding request, we have to look to make sure that it's allowable based on what the legislature, through the statutes, has allowed counties to do. There are a lot of other areas of statutes that affect different departments, but county organization, county government is in Chapter 59. Sawyer County, at some point in history, determined to be a self-organized county. That's allowable under the statutes, so they filed an ordinance with the state saying they would self-organize under home rule. That's primarily Chapter 2 of our Code of Ordinances, as well as in our Policy and Procedures Manual. That outlines how the county operates on a daily basis, how the board operates, and all the rules that, and kind of the bumpers of how we proceed with meetings and operating. Code of Ordinances, I'll just touch on that briefly. So I'll just tell you that Sawyer County's been working on their ordinances over the last number of years. They're now codified into a book of ordinances or a code of ordinances. Those are all online. And we'll get you a copy of this so you can use the links within the presentation. But we use a service called MuniCode. That's where our ordinances are housed as we make updates to them, like we just amended an ordinance at last month's meeting. There's a supplement that gets posted online, and then a couple times a year, they actually update the code. Beyond that, the county operates under the county administrator form of government. There are three primary ways to operate in the state of Wisconsin. One is the county executive, which is an elected position. You find that in some of the larger counties. A county administrator, which is how the majority of counties operate. And then a minority operate with an administrative coordinator form. Primarily, the big difference, obviously, is an executive is an elected position, is the chief elected person in the county. County administrator is statutory, so all the outlines of my job and my duties are outlined in statute. An administrative coordinator is more directed by the board. There's a outline of the duties that are responsible for that, or responsible, that position is responsible, is outlined on by that county. I'm not gonna go into great detail on that because I'm gonna give you the first plug. In your packet information should be a notice of the county officials workshop. That would be the best place. I encourage all of you to go, new members and current members or returning members. That's a great opportunity to hear from Wisconsin County Association and the local government from Extension. It's nice that the workshop, the regional workshop, is actually here in Hayward. That is on May 6th at Flat Creek. If you want to go, and like I said,
May
9th, excuse me, May 9th. May 9th, let Lynn know and she'll get you signed up for that. But they'll go through all the different ways counties are organized and the things that, what you should know as a county board member. And they'll go through a lot of what's in the county officials handbook that's in your packet from WCA as well. So the Sawyer County Board policies, and like Mr. Kinsley said, this is something that's been in existence here since 2016. Really lays out the day-to-day rules and provisions that the county operates under, primarily the Board of Supervisors. Again, I won't go into great detail. You're all observing a lot as it is. Just that there are 9 primary rules that you'll find in there. When you look into that, under the page 7 is really where it starts. The role of a county board member, that's essentially your job description as a county board supervisor. There it talks about, what you just took an oath to do, to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of Wisconsin. Beyond that, is participating in the debate and voting procedures, serving on one or more standing committees, spending the time needed to understand the issues that come before the board, setting policy for the county. And I think Mr. Kinsley alluded to it as well with the county administrator forum. You're the policy makers, you're the rule makers that the county operation operates. And I work between you and the departments to follow those policies and run the day-to-day operation. But really your primary and major role is being the policymakers and ensuring that the policy is being followed. You're also being responsive to issues raised by his constituents, conducting oneself so that all aspects of one's public life reflect positively on the board and its members, and avoiding the appearance of conflict of interest. And we'll address the ethics, code of ethics later on. So rule 1 is just regarding board members, about the terms you serve and how positions are filled. Rule number 2 goes through meetings and quorum, how meetings operate, special meetings, board meetings, and when a quorum and what a quorum is. Rule 3 is organizational meeting and the election of board officers, which we just used that section to conduct tonight's meeting. Rule 4 outlines the duties of the chairperson, their powers and duties. Rule 5 is the order of business, so it has the order of business for the organizational meeting, and then all regular meetings and board meetings are outlined there. Rule 6 is resolutions and ordinances. Describes that's really how you conduct business, by moving ordinances or resolutions through the committees to the board meetings for adoption. That's how policy is set. Rule number 7 addresses the voting and procedures. How Robert's Rules is intertwined into our board policies that determine when a majority vote is needed, when a 2/3 is needed, how motions and seconds are made, how amendments occur, those types of things. Let's see here. Rule 8 is public participation in board meetings. And really you see that on all the agendas when it outlines public participation. Those are the rules set by the board as far as the time limit and how a person from the public goes about making public comment at a board meeting. And rule number 9 is 1 sentence long, but it's suspension of the rules. And just that the rules can be suspended by a 2/3 vote of those members voting. So, 9 rules doesn't sound all that bad, but as you've probably flipped through them, each of those 9 rules, or most of those 9 rules, have A through whatever underneath them of different aspects of them. So I know even for Lynn and I, preparing for tonight's meeting, we had to dive into the board policies because this meeting only happens every 2 years. So you have to kind of refresh yourself on that. Beyond the 9 basic rules, the policy procedures manual outlines the committees of the board. So I'll get into those. Standing and ad hoc committees, though, do the same thing as you did tonight. They will end up electing a chair and vice chair. For all the board meetings and county committee meetings, the clerk or his appointee is the recording secretary. We work, the clerk and I, with the chairs to put together the agendas each month. The county clerk is responsible for publishing the agendas. And then meetings are held in person, and your board policies allow with options for virtual meetings and or virtual attendance. Like our council already informed us, we lean on the board policies and procedures first to see if there are any board rules already established when certain things come up. Anything that is not addressed in here, the next step would be to go through Robert's Rules or statutes if there is that issue. Like I mentioned, resolutions and ordinances are how the board really conducts its business and operates county government. We have resolutions that come through almost every month. Some of them are resolutions we get, like we need to pass a resolution to authorize a grant application or receipt of grant funds, or to adopt a new policy, or when we approve the budget, we adopt a resolution. So there is a format to those. Generally, they start in committee, where either staff or a board member introduces a resolution. It's debated there, and if it's approved at that committee, it's forwarded to the board with recommendation for adoption. There is the opportunity for an individual supervisor to bring a resolution to the board after the committee of jurisdiction has refused it. The board chair has some through their responsibilities. If they get a resolution from one or more board members, they can refer it to a committee that they feel would be best suited to address it, and then it can start its process to the board. It can also be requested to be sent to the board directly. For that to happen, though, if it comes to the board, it needs a 2/3 vote, because that would be a suspension of the rules. We need a 2/3 vote to be brought to the floor and acted upon. All resolution ordinances obviously are in writing. Like I just mentioned, they come through, usually are sponsored by a committee, but they can be submitted by one or more board members. Just takes 2 board members for it to be referred directly. And then there's the 2/3 vote. Once a resolution comes to the county board, or actually in committee as well, it is brought on the floor for debate with a motion. Once it's on the floor, it can be amended. Requires a first and a second to amend. And then once the motion and second's made to amend, it's debated, and then that amendment has to be acted upon before the resolution can be acted upon. If it's passed, the resolution or ordinance is changed to reflect the amendment, and the board can make more amendments or choose to vote on the amended resolution or ordinance. The board chairperson or the committee chairperson is responsible to make sure that all board members understand the amendment and then what they're acting upon. So that's kind of the quick view of committee operations. You can read the policy procedures manual. I'm at almost all the committee meetings. A lot of them we have counsel available as well if situations arise where there are questions. We try to address those and follow the procedures manual as it's written. One advisement that we always want to make to elected boards is regarding a walking quorum. So we do work in the state of Wisconsin, which has what they call the sunshine laws, which regards open records and open meetings. Very transparent. The state's known for that. So it's important for us to conduct business in the eyes of the public, out in the open. And so walking quorums are sometimes a problem with conducting business outside of the board meeting. So obviously a quorum is a majority of whatever body it is. It's a quorum, it's a majority of the committee, a majority of the board. Just because 3 of 5 members are, just say, having dinner before a meeting does not mean it's a walking quorum. If they are discussing business that's on the agenda or is business of that committee, then you are a walking quorum. So it's always just something to be aware of, and it doesn't just extend to in-person conversations. If there are a group of members emailing each other about a topic, that can be considered a walking quorum as well. So you just want to be aware of that, that is a potential, one-to-one, board member to board member is not a walking quorum, but anytime you involve a majority of a committee or of a board, you have a potential for a walking quorum violation. A lot of times when I email out to the full board or a committee, I'll put a note at the bottom saying, do not respond to all. Just respond to me. The risk of responding to all is that somebody else chimes in, and now we have multiple board members engaging in a conversation. So the committees, there are 8 primary committees, actually, 7 committees and 1 board that are really how business is boiled down for the county board. Administration, Economic Development, Extension and Agriculture Committee, Finance Committee, Land, Water and Forest Resources Committee, Public Safety, Public Works, and Zoning are the committees. Health and Human Services is a board, actually, organized under state statutes for a Health and Human Services Board. So it's a little different because it involves citizen members as well, and I'll explain that. This is right out of the Policies Procedures Manual. Administration Committee develops, guides, and implement policies that address the overall management of the county, coordination of local government, including county administration. It's comprised of the board chair and vice chair and 3 additional board members appointed by the board chair and confirmed by the majority of the board. It's the Committee of Jurisdiction for Administration, Human Resources, Veteran Services, and Information Technology. So that's kind of your central services, IT, Human Resources, Administration, and by statute, Veteran Services reports to administration. So that's why that's included. Economic Development, UW Extension, the Agriculture Committee. They have a mission statement in existence that says it provides leadership for implementation of the education and economic development of Sawyer County, to provide leadership in monitoring outcomes, reviewing and recommending to the county board all policies related to educational and economic development initiatives of Sawyer County. Like I said, it's not the legal word, but I call it permissive government, where we have to have the authorization by statute to engage in activities. So we've listed some of those there, which statutes are applicable that allow us to engage in those activities. Membership is comprised of 5 county board members, 2 of which are also members of the County Land, Water, and Forest Resources Committee. It's the Committee of Jurisdiction for UW Extension, obviously, but we also have a lot of the entities that we support outside of county government, like the Sawyer County Fair, the Sawyer County LCO, Economic Development Corporation, the county libraries, the Hayward Lakes Visitors Convention Bureau, all communicate to us through that committee. Finance Committee, kind of self-explanatory, but it's it looks at the overall finances of the county, improves the audit. That's the committee that first sees the budget and works through with administration on reviewing the county budget. And then we submit it to the committee, who then forwards it to the board. If there are any amendments to the budget, they start there. In the last term, we adopted an investment policy through the Finance Committee that addressed how our county funds are invested. Approves policies and procedures related to the finance functions of the county. Health and Human Services Board, they have their own separate bylaws per the statute they're organized under. The county has the responsibility for the well-being, treatment, and care of persons experiencing social, mental, and physical disabilities. That includes healthcare, mental illness, developmental disabilities, income maintenance, extended supervision and parole services, alcohol and drug abuse, services to children, youth and aging, family counseling, special education services, and manpower services. And these are all provided through our combined Health and Human Services entity. Like I said, they have 9 members, 5 of which are county board supervisors, 4 members are citizens at large and are not employees of the county. 1 citizen that's a member has to be a person who receives services or as a family member that receives services through the agency. 1 board member should be a tribal representative from the Kootenai Band of Lake Superior Chippewa Indians. A physician member is on there, and then 1 citizen. There's, like I said, there's 9 members, so there are 3-year terms. So when we do appointments, you'll see that some of those are continuing on and some have to be reappointed or replaced. Land, Water, and Forest Resource Committee, obviously we're in Sawyer County. Our land, water, and forest resources are a very important part of the county. So the committee's mission is to develop, guide, and implement policies that protect and ensure the sustainability of our biodiverse community. 6 members are appointed to this committee, 5 of which are county board members, and then 1 of which who is a representative of the agriculture community. And it's the Committee of Jurisdiction for land and water conservation, forestry, land records, land information, surveyor, and register of deeds. Public Safety Committee, I should have put Public Safety / Courts Committee. This committee coordinates the public safety and justice departments for the county, which provide for the safety of the citizens and guests of the county, monitors outcomes, reviews, and recommends to the county board policies related to public safety initiatives of the county. It's 5 county board supervisors which are appointed to be on this committee. It's the Committee of Jurisdiction for the sheriff, ambulance, medical examiner, emergency services, clerk of courts, I should say emergency management, district attorney, circuit court, and child support. And they also receive the reports from the Criminal Justice Collaboration Council. Public Works Committee develops, guides, and implement policies that address management and operation of county facilities and infrastructure. 5 county board members, and it's the Jurisdiction Committee for Maintenance, Airport, and Highway. Zoning Committee, they operate under their own set of bylaws, and they have 5 members as well. The 5 members have to come from unincorporated areas of the county, and they cannot be elected board representative District 6 or 7 per their bylaws. And obviously, the zoning committee deals with policy and zoning ordinance and amendments, hears rezone requests and conditional use permits, and has hearings for those. Beyond the primary committees of the county board, the county is involved in a number of other entities. And so we appoint people to serve on other boards, commissions, and committees. So this is not, if you look in the board policies, there's a fairly long list, but examples would be internal is the Criminal Justice Collaborating Council. which pulls together all of our district attorney, the courts, the sheriff's department. We're working on things like treatment court and the diversion programs, the jail operation, and our other criminal justice programming there. There's an ethics committee, the zoning board of appeals would be examples of internal committees. The quasi-governmental are entities that the county belongs to with other counties that we appoint representation to. ADRC, Aging Disability Resource Center, the Northwest Regional Planning Commission, Northern Mars Library Service, Northwest Wisconsin SEP, the PACE Commission, are all examples of quasi-governmental entities that we appoint representation to. And then another category is external. We have a appointed position on the Birkebeiner Foundation, the Hayward Great Lakes Convention Visitors Bureau, the various libraries throughout the county, the Surrey County Fair, the Housing Authority, are all examples of external entities that we have representation on. So that kind of covers for the most part, the board policies, the committees, and the different entities we're involved with. Voting system. So we did not use it tonight, but in front of you on your name tags is your clickers. We use an electronic voting system for a lot of resolution approvals, ordinance approvals. You plug in your, the clerk will turn the voting system on when we're ready to take a vote. You submit your vote and it, everybody submits, and then the clerk hits the button and it shows what the vote is. So it's just meant to expedite that voting process and leave it somewhat anonymous until the vote is publicized. Code of ethics, that's in the back of your policy procedures manual. When we adopted the new, or not new, but updated board policies in the fall of 22, we also updated a code of ethics, and then just recently updated the conflict of interest form and disclosure form. So like I said before, we expect all supervisors as well as all department heads, elected officials, and people we appoint to committees to conduct themselves according to our code of ethics. And a lot of what we did, what we found is sometimes it's not that you have a conflict of interest, it's just disclosing those things. We all assume that we know that so-and-so owns this business or they're on this board, but we just give you opportunity to fill out the form to disclose all of that, so it's a public record. So we do get ethics complaints, and when those happen, Corp Counsel takes a look at them to make sure that the complaint is complete, and then they make an assessment whether it's a valid complaint or not that needs to be heard by the Board of Ethics. There is also an opportunity in our Code of Ethics, if you have a situation where you like an opinion, the Board of Ethics, the Ethics Board can take that and provide advisement as to whether or not is a conflict or is a violation of the county ethics policy. Compensation, I think everybody's up to speed on that, or you will be. Most of you that are returning already know how to fill out the forms. New members will learn that through the payroll office, as you are compensated through per diems for the meeting attendance. If you're unable to attend an assigned meeting, you should notify the chair, myself, or the county clerk, so that it can be excused. It also helps us know if we'll have a quorum or not. There is provisions in the policies that if we do not have a quorum, that the committee chair can draft another member of the board to fill in to make a quorum. So it's good to know those things in advance. Life happens, people have other obligations, but just try to keep the chair or the clerk or myself informed as to the attendance. Meeting decorum, just expect that supervisors, visitor staff conduct themselves in a respectful manner. No conversation allowed on the board floor or in the visitors section. Electronic devices shall be kept in silent mode. Supervisors shall use county provided electronic devices in accordance with policy. Just as a comment, the last couple of months we've had a filled room for some of the public comment in meetings, and I thought public board, given the volume of the people attending, our meetings have run really smooth. Public comment's been good and appropriate, so it's a good tone that we wanna keep. Like I mentioned, the envelope that you have is from the Wisconsin Counties Association. They are the statewide association that all the counties are a member of. They provide us a link for legislative issues. In the next couple of months, you'll probably see a resolution or two that we are going to put together to submit to WCA for the fall business meeting that helps draft their legislative policy. They provide education. They're part of who provides the county officials workshops. The board chair is going to find out after the meeting that he has a meeting next week here for the regional WCA meetings. They come around to the regions and meet with the board chairs, but they do act as a voice for county issues in Madison. Like I said, they offer seminars, meetings. The two biggest ones, there's the fall conference, and then there's the February, there's the legislative conference in Madison. And as well as every week, there's a call that they do with, I think board members get invited, but it's just on county issues. And once a month, there's at least once a month, there's a webinar on some topic affecting counties. Meeting packet information. So you do have a mail slot. You used to have a mailbox, but now you have a slot in this container that the clerk brings around to the meetings with any mail that you're getting as a county board member. Your county board and committee meeting information. You'll receive an emailed packet. The clerk tries to get those out a week in advance. We try to get everything in there, but occasionally there's going to be some things added to that packet, but we do try to get out the agenda a week in advance. And they're, in addition to being emailed to you, they're also available on the website where you have 24/7 access. And this talks a little bit about how to find it on the website. I'd say Sawyer County is ahead of the game on transparency from a standpoint of having as much as we can on the website, and as well as having all of our meetings recorded and put on YouTube, and the ability to attend meetings virtually. Not nearly all counties do that, and not many do it as well as our IT has set us up to do that. So if you're not a member of the Land, Water, Forest Resource Committee and want to see what happened, within a couple days of the meeting, you can go and watch the meeting and hear all that. And then the minutes get posted on the website as well. Electronic communications, it's just again an advisement for board members that as a public elected official, any recorded communications you make regarding county business are subject to public records and open meetings laws. You are provided an email address, a county email address. Highly recommend that you conduct all of your county business through that email address. Now, we all know we live in small towns and people have your phone number and they have your personal email address. Just a good idea when they reach out to you on county business, direct them, nicely to refer to, use your county email address. That way, if somebody requests emails, it's really easy for our IT staff to get them. We know where they are and how to get to them. And you're also provided a laptop or notebook or to use as well, and we encourage you to use those. That's just some other advisement that the device can be used for some personal activities, just as long as it's abiding by our IT resources policy. And when you're obviously done with board service, you have to return the electronic device. Emails must be retained according to open records laws and saved for 7 years. By using the county address, it's backed up and it's accessible by IT. If you haven't already, your electronic device will be set up by our IT department to easily access your emails. You can access them on your other devices like your smartphone or home computer, because we still, as long as you're using your county email address, we have that on our servers. Always good to check your emails frequently. That's how a lot of your departments, myself, the clerk, the county will reach out to the full board or individual board members with information. But then again, just going back to the walking quorum advisement, be careful how you use it. Don't use it to engage with dialogue with multiple supervisors on a item that's government business or county business. Social media, again, just an advisement. I don't know how many of you are active on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, but it's a good way to communicate with a large number of public users. It's also a good way to quickly get in trouble with a large number of public users, so be aware of how you use that. Now that, as an elected board member, your voice is different than just a regular citizen, so be aware of when you're speaking as an elected official versus speaking as a citizen. Treat social media like talking to the news media or anybody else. Assume anything you say can be taken out of context. Be clear you're stating your own individual opinions, unless it's a position adopted by the board, but that it's your opinion, you're not conveying official position of the county. Some people, when you're elected office, will have a Judge Monica Isham Judge Facebook page versus just their personal page. That's a good idea if you want to go to that length. And so that's all I have. Like I said, this was I think the high overview. If you have specific questions you want addressed, I can do that. Or I recommend attend the county officials workshop. And here, you'll be there with a lot of other board supervisors who will all be learning the same time you are. Mr. Bennett?
I appreciate this time compared to in years past, that everything's laid out. This was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. And I take over?
Sure.
Okay. You're going to have a packet in front of you, and this is going to be really quick because we've already started some of it. And some of you will, the 4 new folks will have a little bit more paperwork in your folder. It's going to be a little bit thicker. But in there, you already signed your official oath of office, and hopefully, I think Monica signed all of those, so we've got that first part done. The next one is that orange certificate of election. That's for you to keep as your copy. So just mount that on your wall so that you can have some self-esteem there. The declaration of round-trip mileage is on the list, but that is only for new members. And if you have already, I think if Randy turned his in now, I think we've got them all. So I think we're all set for declaration of round-trip mileage. But if you haven't turned it in, make sure you do. The next one on the list is the 2024 calendar meeting of dates. It's a color-coded calendar of all the 2024 meetings that are left through December 31st of this year. So if you are going to be on committees, that's a quick glance to show you when you might want to stay committed to your board commitments.
It still shows that we're meeting Thursday.
Oh, that's right. We did change the meeting to the 25th, next Thursday. So that one is wrong, but you can go ahead and circle the 25th. We've changed it since then. So on that note, on the 25th, next Thursday, when you come for the business meeting for April, these name tags are going to be gone. Make sure you come early and pick your best spot, because we normally have the chair here and the vice chair where Mr. Sorowski is currently sitting. But after that, it's fair game. And once you place yourself down in a spot next Thursday, I'm going to start putting your name tag there. So pick your spot.
In other words, don't be virtual.
Yeah, don't be virtual if you want to get your best spot. The statement of the board preference list, the committee list, I think I've gotten a few of those already. Please make sure you turn those in to me before you leave tonight. And I think there's a signature on the back page. I will notarize those, but I will combine the list for Mr. Buckholz and Mr. Kinsley to provide them so that they can start establishing committees and subcommittees tomorrow morning. Okay, so make sure that one stays with me. Don't take it home.
When you said a signature on, is there a signature on?
It says printed, but. Oh, that's one. I'm sorry, I pulled up the wrong one. That one does not have a signature on, just your name on the top. It's the statement of economic interest that has your place for a signature that I will notarize. So that one also needs to be returned to me tonight. So there's a few documents that stay on the table. There's a card for new members on basic information on motions. You can keep that for your records. You might also have one, everybody, in your big packet that WCA sent you, so that's a pretty handy card. As well as a statement on parliamentary procedures. That statement, that little handout from Von Briesen was from a seminar a while ago, but it has some good information, so I keep forwarding it through the meetings of organization. So handy information for you. There's another blue folder that comes occasionally. I think it's a quarterly publication that comes, and this one happens to be on the reevaluation of property taxes, so you can have some good reading material before you go to bed tonight. Then, of course, there's a thicker WCA County Supervisor memorandum letter. There's a meeting on April 24th at Flat Creek. Registration opens up at 11:30, 30 minutes before the meeting starts. So this one is for chair and vice chair. And since at that time we didn't know who was going to be our chair and vice chair, everybody got one. So gentlemen, the two of you can decide on that meeting as well. The next one is a county officials workshop on May 9th. That one I think is a single sheet. It has some yellow highlighting on it. If you're interested in signing up on that one, return it to me by 4/22. That's listed on your cover sheet here. And then I will make sure that you are registered. I think the new folks also have some extra WCA brochures that they put in our materials, so you can take those and read at your leisure. along with that big, fat, thick WCA full packet that everybody has. So always good information from WCA. In September, they always have a meeting that's worth traveling to, and at that point, as we get closer, I will start seeing who wants to attend, and we'll get you registered for that as well. And then the last one for new folks is a blue book, softbound cover, the most current edition of the official handbook written by WCA, and that is extremely helpful in learning your role as a county supervisor. So there's a few documents that you keep here before you leave, and the rest you can take with you. And then on occasion, I will bring this box again to the meeting. It's usually sitting back by the front door there. Stop in and check your mailbox folder and see if there's anything that has transpired since the last time you picked up your mail. And let me know if you have any questions. Welcome aboard. And anyone who is new, who has not gotten their computer, we will make sure we will get it to you. Any questions? It's fairly quick. Okay, we're on to the item number 13.
So item number 13 is zoning committee appointment, discussion of possible action. Because zoning is meeting on Friday, we have presently on this board 5 people that have served on the zoning committee in the prior term.
Correct. Want me to reason, I mean, it's an oversight. When the calendar was put together, what Lynn handed you, the regular board meeting was scheduled for Thursday. From a practical standpoint, given that the board chair, vice chair have to come up with committees, an agenda have to put together, the turnaround to have a meeting Thursday, we determined was not feasible, so we moved the meeting to the 25th. However, the zoning department was already using the calendar and had already published the agenda, because they have to publicly notice the public hearings in advance, so they already have the meeting scheduled for Friday. So again, talking with council, we put this on the agenda. With the board would have to take action to do this, but yes, the 5 members of the zoning committee who were on for the last 2 years, or the last 5 members to be there, are still on the board. A way to not have to postpone the zoning committee and push it into May would be to appoint those members to the committee for Friday's meeting. If the chair, vice chair, when they put together committees, want to end up appointing other people next week, then the chair would ask to have those members approved tonight, removed, and ask the board to appoint new members. This just gets us through Friday's meeting, but it would have to be at the okay of the chair and with a motion of the board to do that.
So the 5 members presently on the zoning committee is Ron Buckles, Stacy Hessel, Tweed Schuman, John Righeimer, and Kay Wilson. I asked permission for the board to have these 5 people serve on the committee for Friday, and also ask if there's one alternate that would like to sit in, knowing that this all could change on the meeting on the 25th. Is there any volunteers? Thank you. So they're meeting Friday at 8:30.
Yes.
In what room? Here?
Here.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes. You did.
I would like to, the zoning committee that's already on board for the last 2 years has all the training to be on zoning. It is just, it's not an easy committee to get on. There's a lot of training involved in it and a lot of know-how. And my suggestion to these county board supervisors is to keep the original 5 committee members that are already on it, because they already have the training.
That's to be followed up if them 5 committee members want to stay on the committee.
Right.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, do you need a motion then that these 5 serve on Friday only?
That is correct, it says.
I'll make that
discussion.
motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schuman, second by Ms. Hessel to approve the 6 people for the zoning meeting this Friday. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 14, correspondence, reports, conferences, and meetings. Does anybody have anything they want to share? I'll share one thing. Dates coming up you need to know about. April 25th is the next county board meeting. It's next Thursday, a week from this Thursday. May 9th is the training at Flat Creek Eatery for all county board members. I highly recommend you go into that meeting if you're available to do so. And May 16th is a county board meeting. That meeting starts at 6:30, but at 5 o'clock, we're having a ribbon cutting ceremony for our new building. There's some things put together for that. We wish everybody would attend. And again, that's at 5 o'clock. Anybody else have anything else?
I do, I have a
Yes.
question. Lynn, what's on the April 28th? For the vice chair and the chair? Or did I mishear something?
I think it was
WCA.
WCA, but I didn't think that was the day. I thought it was May 9th.
Oh, it's May 9th. Yeah, I got that one, but I thought you said something about the 20.
April 24th, that class.
Oh, April 24th.
24th.
And what time is that?
It starts at noon, the registration opens at 11:30, so it doesn't sound like you have to
Okay.
bring a pre-registration,
Okay,
and that's class.
all right.
Me and nobody else anything else. Congratulations on your win to be on serving the county board for the next 2 years. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
And make sure you leave your appropriate documents.